Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the boundary. Sorry for the podcast who's wondering, is Mason Jar a brand or like, because I forget, I think until like about a week ago, I just thought it was like an extra ingredient. And I said, well, I think these are just glass. There's nothing Mason about. Anyway, it's time for Sleep With. This is the podcaster who makes the show. I think. I don't. If it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And hey, you getting ready to do some Halloween costume shopping? What if you could just get it delivered straight to your house in 2 days, or your freaking candy, and you could easily sort by price, and you could be doing that and supporting the show? Well, if you shop on Amazon at sleepwithmepodcast.com/Amazon, whether it's you're doing your Halloween shopping or picking up an Echo Dot, which I highly recommend, or doing some other shopping, you can get the same Amazon you always use, but through the affiliate program, we get a small commission on whatever you purchase. It's a huge, huge help to the show, free. All you got to do is go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/Amazon in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. Mystery Bard, you got a song so they can remember?
Maybe none of the advertisers excite. Maybe you don't got the funds for Patreon right now. You told all your friends about the show. You've done everything right, you know. But you can go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/Amazon. Bookmark it so you can find it whenever you want, and use it whenever you shop at Amazon.
So that's it. When your hand hits the fridge tomorrow, you're going to say, you know what, when I do all my shopping, I'm going to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/Amazon. Housekeeping, we're on the web, www.sleepwithmepodcast.com. Older episodes are there. You can comment on our show notes. Get me on Twitter at Dear Scooter, or on Facebook at sleepwithmepodcast.com, and doing live streams there from time to time. I want to thank Chris Posterson from Sounds Like an Earful Studios, who edited this episode and did the theme music. I want to thank Jonathan Mann over at jonathanmann.net, who's on our lullabies. Scotty and Jennifer on our artwork. Everybody who supports the show at Patreon with monthly support at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. And the listeners have a Facebook group at sleepwithmepodcast.com/nods, NODS. And the moderators over there are Summer and Sarah, Laura and Lyda, and Julie and Jennifer. Thank you so much. And I'm going to keep recommending podcasts because I love podcasts. I love making them, but I love the people that make them. And you know who's the best, or some of the nicest podcasters? Lauren over at Criminal Podcasts, and Phoebe. And if you haven't checked out Criminal Podcasts, they're on a streak of greatness. So subscribe to Criminal Podcasts in your podcatching app, and you'll be thanking me, because that's my main kitchen podcast. So that's it, and let's get out with the show. Hey, you all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thinking, feeling, sensing, outside noises, stuff, you got stuff going on, whatever it is, whether it's one of those things or something different. I want to take your mind off of that. I want to distract you. So here it is. I'm smoothing it out, a safe place. I'm using my creaky dulcets to soothe out a safe place here for you. And the way I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use, like I said, those creaky dulcet tones, repeating myself or restating. I would say restating facts. I don't even think I have factoids on this podcast, but restating stuff, repeating myself, recircling. I do a lot of I don't do paraphrasing. I do quote. What do you call that? I think it is paraphrasing. Poor paraphrasing. Triple alliteration. I don't know if I could get a quiet. Can you do, is there too much alliteration? That's a question that hasn't been answered on this podcast. Because they'd say you're canceled. Luckily, but here's another tip. A podcast can't be canceled. But I did get a letter from the Alliteration Council that said that I'm diluting the power of alliteration. And, when this decade finally comes to a close, they already have it planned out. The man who did the most damage to alliteration done the most. I guess I got to think of an alliterationist. So that'll really get him. Done. The damage, done damage to alliteration. I don't think that counts. I don't even know if that's but they said that 2021. Well, I don't know. It's a new decade starts in 2020. So I guess I'll probably be getting. I don't think it'll be an award. But, they won't, they take the alliteration seriously, so they won't be alliterative. They'll just say the man who's done the most damage to the alliteration this decade, the decade of damaging alliteration, dear Scooter. And I'll say, well, what time is, I said, is that going to be a black tie ceremony? Because I said, could you give me a rental fee? And they said, well, you're not it's a roast. And I said, well, then you definitely need me there if you're going to be roasting me. I'd say, is it a righteous roast? Is it a roast of rascals? And they'd say, they said, please stop calling here. So over alliteration, I guess, misuse of a lot of stuff. Holy misusages. I've done a few. But let's reset here. So this is a podcast to take your mind off stuff. I might try to escort you across the threshold from wake to sleep. And escort you, or while you float across, I'll just be talking to you. So instead of thinking about whatever's keeping you awake or any of that stuff, you can just listen to me ramble. Now, tonight we're going to have a guest on, and I don't know if we're going to have a debate. We still haven't decided on the format. I think maybe we'll have a debate, but this guest is going to come on, and we're going to talk about some things, and but you don't need to listen. You could hear it, or you could, be aware that there's chatter going on. But the ideal thing is that you drift off into sleep. But you say, well, I was kind of listening to him. And then, he did that thing where he pauses and then he reconsiders what he just said. Then he tries to, restate it. So, yeah, I'm going to try to take your mind off of stuff. And the reason I do the podcast, statement of purpose, so he'll do a restatement of purpose soon, is because I've been there, lying there alone in the deep, dark night, and hoping that something would take my mind off of the fact that I was lying there. And that's what the goal, the pinnacle of this podcast is be your boar friend. To be the person, in an imaginary sense, sitting at the foot of your bed or in a silent rocking chair, which they have not invented yet. Because I don't understand why they don't have to, and don't get me started on those freaking glider rocker things. I say that's going to be, talk about being sold a false bill of goods. I don't know, I got to sit down with whoever patented that thing. I'll probably be sitting down with their lawyers after this, but, why don't they have two kinds of rocking chairs? Daytime rocking chair and a nighttime rocking chair, or when people are trying to sleep, because there's definitely because the rocking chair is nice, that motion, and you say, well, get one of those nice carpets, and I said, well, it's still going to creak. Let's be honest, it's a rocking chair. And I said, well, maybe if I was a scientist, I'd create a stealth knocker, which just sounds like something else, and those people that listen to podcasts regularly know that one of my hobbies is listening to knocks. So I guess that was a Freudian slip, because it would be a stealth rocker, not a stealth knocker, Scoots. I said, you're right, it would be a stealth rocker. It also sounds like a movie, The Stealth Rocker. Who would be the stealth rocker? Because how much could you rock if you were a stealth rocker? You say, well, it's a superhero, the stealth rocker. I said, exactly. I don't understand is their superpower that they rock, or they rock stealthily? Or, no, their job is they're a rocker. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I can't take that That could be a podcast character one day. It's the stealth rocker. But believe it or not, I'm in the middle of a podcast intro, and I'm trying to invent a new rocking chair, the stealth rocker. Well, what will it do? Well, it'll rock when it won't bother me when I'm trying to, when I'm imaginarily telling a story to these fine listeners we have here. I'll be rocking stealthily, so it won't sound like I'm rocking, and they won't know I'm rocking, but they'll feel the soothing essences of someone rocking nearby in a rocking chair, stealthily. Stealthily, that sounds like, stealthily I rock. Stealthily I rock in this rocking chair. Yeah, because I'm the stealth rocker. I'm in a stealth rocker. Stealth rock. Oh, did I tell you this episode is sponsored by Stealth Rockers? Kickstarter pending. Pending someone else doing all the work. But yeah, one day people will talk, when the homes are filled with, when the glider, because tell you what would you rather, if you have a glider rocker, you already know the answer. You'd rather have a stealth rocker. And you say, well, those glider rockers I say, we need an actual rocking chair where you can build up momentum, where you can pretend you're in the circus and, over rock and then leap out and say, ta-da. These are the things rocking chairs were invented for. Reliving, the rocking horse winner. Contemplating things, spilling things on yourself. That's another, I don't know if the stealth rocker can solve that. That would be the stealth rocker deluxe. Spill proof. Stealth and spill proof. Stealth rocker plus. Stealth rocker 7S or whatever. Also with Bluetooth. And, the other one, it's got a freaking G8 chip in there, for stabilization. That's why it doesn't spill any drinks. Stealth rocker. So, okay, if you're new here, you got a pretty good dose of the podcast. I'm the kind of man who invents, I can't claim to be an inventor, but I think about things like, and I say this is a perfectly good, like here I am telling you a bedtime story. If you were going to have someone come and tell you a bedtime story, you'd want them in a stealth rocker. Pre-purchase is available. I don't have a URL yet, but you could just, pay me direct, stealth rocker. And, that would be nice because there is an essence of rocking in a rocking chair. That's soothing at bedtime, minus the noises. I'm stuck. Sometimes my brain gets worn in these, so that's the podcast, is to take your mind off. So now while I was doing all that stealth rocking, let me ask you a question. Were you thinking about all the other things that were keeping you awake, or did it try to distract you a little bit? The fact that a grown man can bear, is just still distracted by a stealth rocker. Also the fact that I know, at least I'm like, what would that stealth rocker be like, the superhero stealth rocker? Sounds like that's, needs a little more time in the story swamp. But so that's the podcast. It's meant to take your mind off stuff, not meant to be taken seriously, not meant to be, you can listen. I'll be here for an entire hour giving it my all. So if you can't sleep or it takes you a while, there'll be a mildly entertaining, stuff going on, maybe a debate. I'm not positive yet. And I'll be here the whole time. To keep you company, rocking in my imaginary stealth rocker. But you can fall asleep whenever you want. You're under no pressure to fall asleep. Just do it at your leisure, just like as leisurely as I'm rocking right now. But, I do this because I've been there. And if this podcast doesn't work for everybody, but I hope it works for you. I appreciate you overcoming the skepticism to try it out. Say, well, hey, let me give this thing a shot. Heard about it on Crazy Ideas, crazy. Well, it was it went to stealthrocker.com, and then, that didn't work because like I said, I didn't get that URL yet. So then I typed in, who was the idiot talking about the stealth rocker? I said, sleepwithmepodcast.com, dear Scooter. Well, yeah, I'm here to tell you a bedtime story. Take your mind off of the fact that it hasn't been invented yet. But in some sense, maybe I am. Within the safe place, within the deep, dark night, one man tells stories. They're dull. Sometimes they're senseless. And that man's there for you. He's the stealth rocker. So I'm glad you're here. And I really hope I really yearn to help you fall asleep, all right? Hey, before we get to the story here, just a reminder, if you use Amazon and you're using it for your holiday shopping or any shopping, please use our link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/Amazon. And it'll be the same Amazon you always use. We'll just get a small commission on whatever you purchase. Really helps the show out. Thank you so much, everybody that's using it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, hey, everybody. It's a Tuesday night episode. Happy Tuesday to you. And I recently got caught talking out of school, as they say. And so now it's time for me to atone, I guess, or the bills come due. Because, it's the autumn season, and the season where some birds travel, migratory birds travel. And some travel so far, it amazes us, when you learn about these things or you see them in a science museum and you partially remember and you wonder, was that the migratory patterns of the birds or the whales? I don't know, but I'm going to use it as podcast opening anyway. But the birds, some of these birds, and I happen to live, somewhere within, I think there's this thing called the Pacific Flyway, where these birds travel, from the north to the south for the winter to stay warm. I actually can't confirm that that's why they do that. I don't know if it is to stay warm. But so somewhere on this Pacific Flyway I live, and recently I took my dog for a walk, and we headed to this park where she likes to, relieve herself and sniff things. And take her time and pull on her leash and look back at me and say, come on. But we arrived at the park, and the park had been taken over by these Canadian geese, which, again, I know these are all nature's gifts. Oh, thank you, for all your gifts, Mother Nature. And that these birds are just doing their best thing. But like a part of me, I'm not perfect. These birds get on my nerves. And these ones weren't particularly bad because there was a big group of them and they were walking as a group. So that kind of looked cool. And none of them hissed at me or my dog. And my dog doesn't really care. She's a bird observer. I didn't get this either. I said, how come you chase after the squirrels? But these birds, you just look at them. You're like, interesting. Barely. I'm going to sniff this ground. And he said, don't you know these, as far as bird nemesises go, there's my friend Charlie's birds, which I don't think are with us anymore. And I don't even remember. I think one was Pepper. Pepper was a parrot or, some sort of one of those kind of like a house bird. And I think he had another bird, but I can't think of the name of it. That might have been, I don't know if that was a parrot. I don't know the difference between a parrot. Pepper was a green bird that could talk, but also Pepper would fly. I don't know. I don't. But as far as a general bird nemesis, Canadian geese maybe. And again, I said, oh, these Canadian geese plaguing up my park. And I guess I didn't realize that, Mother Nature has feelings too. So I got home, and those of you that have been listening to the podcast for a while know that sometimes I have a guest that comes on that is the official spokesperson for a lot of Mother Nature's things. I guess there's I don't know if there's a lobbying group or if how they decide this, but as far as I know, this person, they speak for butterflies, grasshoppers, dust motes, because dust motes are, I guess, a collective community, and now Canadian geese. And that person is Bernie the butterfly. And Bernie's been on the episode show a few times, and not in about maybe it's been a year. I don't really know. No, Bernie did great for graduation speech, but that might have been a year and a half ago. I don't know if maybe it was maybe it was 6 months ago. But Bernie is a butterfly that dislikes people, so I don't know if that's a misanthrope, I believe. you'd say Bernie's hyper intelligent compared to other butterflies because you'd say, well, no other butterflies that I know about talk, and no other butterflies I know about have a terrible attitude. Now, you might say, well, are you being reactionary? Okay, let me just bring up a name, a beloved actor, and I want you to close your eyes and see how you react when I say the name LeVar Burton. Close your eyes. You could be thinking of many different versions of LeVar Burton, but all of them create a sense of calm or positive feeling. As far as I know, like, you get a good sense. When you think of LeVar Burton, you feel good. I do. And I think about Reading Rainbow. I think about Geordie LaForge. I think about the LeVar Burton I see on Twitter, spreading positivity. LeVar Burton, as it was on the newest Roots. Well, Bernie the Butterfly loathes LeVar Burton. So I think that should say enough. But Bernie Butterfly also claims to speak on behalf of the Canadian Geese. And so I've been called out by this butterfly. So without further ado, I guess Bernie, I don't know if Bernie has a prepared statement or what. Oh, a couple other things. Bernie the Butterfly has been appearing on the podcast since way before Bernie Sanders' campaign for president. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it isn't, Bernie's not a metaphor, just in case, and I'm not like, this isn't like a sly, not a metaphor. Bernie's not a metaphor. But anyway, here's Bernie the Butterfly. Well, hello, Pod Boy. Thank you for having me on. Is this microphone on over here? Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and friends beyond the binary. This is your friend Bernie the Butterfly saying hello. And also human beings. Oh, boy. I don't know. So I'm glad the Pod Boy had me back on the show as he introduced me improperly, as was expected. Because of his passive-aggressive attitude for butterflies. And the reason I'm here is because my friends, the Canadian Geese, were being spoken of derogatorily by not only this pod boy in this occasion, but other occasions in the past. And before we go any further, I don't know if any of you humans have ever seen a Canadian goose weeping, but try dealing with a weeping flock of geese who have had their feelings hurt by a dismissive attitude of a pod boy who thinks he's hot stuff, and with his dog that has no brains. His dog looks at a butterfly and says, are you a carrot, or what are you doing flying around near me? And also his dog, if I had a podcast, to deal with the dogs and their foolishness, the dog is a fly chaser. And luckily, the dog has no coordination. This dog, Koa, the pod boy's dog. You want to talk about man's best friend. This dog will chase around flies, which is smarter than the dog. So then the dog is running into walls and trash cans. And then the pod boy is saying, oh, Koa, watch out for the fly. You're running into the wall. You're going to get hurt. Let me deal with the fly. And then the pod boy's bothering the fly. And then, of course, the pod boy's got to make it about him. So he's like, well, I can't kill the fly. I've got feelings now for Mother Nature's things when it's convenient to me. So then he's trying to catch the fly and chase it out of the room. And then the dog is, running into the refrigerator. And this is what goes on in this. And I say, who are you to judge a Canadian goose? You and your dog are running into walls about a friggin' housefly. This is not a house, it's an apartment, but that's what the fly does. It comes around here and tries to do stuff. But the reason I'm here today is to, deal with this Canadian Geese incident. Because so the bad boy thinks, he doesn't think he knows everything that I know, or whatever is the proper thing to say. So he doesn't like these geese because they don't like him. I mean, but these poor geese are weeping because they say, him and his dog. And I say, okay, well, do you have my payment? Now, yes, I represent Mother Nature's creatures when it's worked because they said Initial consult is 2 cases of Gatorade. I do have a pretty, and then I tried some of the Powerade, which has, I guess, some other stuff in there. And then now this bad boy, not only is he full of terrible ideas for himself, but he said, he's telling me I can't drink Gatorade because he says it's unnatural. And I said, well, I'm addicted to it at this point, so I need it. My body's used to that much sugar. And I said, bad boy, I need some electrolytes because you're irritating me. And that saps me of my electrolytes. Look at my wing patterns. They look down. And he said, Bernie, that's not true. And I said, it is true. And then I learned about Powerade and the other vitamin aid. So I've tried those things. They're all pretty good. But then this bad boy, he says so many things without thinking. He says, well, have you tried Lucozade? And I said, no. I said, that sounds like it's got an aid in it, though. I said, does it come in a lime green color? And he said, he goes, Bernie, back when I was in New York, I think this was an Irish product or an English product. And he said, what if you took Gatorade and you put spark, but you put bubbles in it? And then you added caffeine. That was what I remember Lucozade was in New York. And we would go to the bodegas that had it, and we would drink it when we were not feeling good after going out too late at night. And I said, are you telling me it has bubbles and sugar and caffeine? And I said, but bad boy, let's get some Lucozade over here. And he said, I don't know, Bernie. And I said, well, now you told me about it. So now I get paid by the Canadian Geese are paying me in Lucozade. I said, and they said, well, where do we get it? I said, fly to wherever you friggin' need to go and give me some Lucozade. Quit crying about the pod boy. Pull yourselves together. Make some geese calls. Can't you call a geese and then you just send it all the way to Ireland, to England? Or a warehouse in the United States. Tell your friggin' geese to keep your eyes open and give me some Lucozade, and then I'll talk to you. And so they did. And so that's why I'm here tonight. Also on behalf of Mother Nature, sweet, sweet Mother Nature, who in her wisdom and guidance has appointed me the only butterfly that can talk and the butterfly that happens to talk a lot of sense. And so what I've decided to do, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to have to take a break to set this up, but I had challenge the pot boy to a debate. So we'll have a little debate here, and we'll go back and forth about the pot boy and his dog and the feelings about Canadian geese, and we're going to set the record straight, because that's what Bernie the Butterfly does. I come on here, and I set the record straight, a boom. So we'll get things together. I got a goggle. I need some Lucozade because I'm so parched. And I'll have a couple Lucozades and we'll be back. I don't think you'll hear anything because the friggin' pod boy. Oh, don't worry, Bernie. The episodes are edited. And I say, he said, you going to give me some Lucozade? He said, no. And then I said, can I keep some of the Lucozade in the refrigerator from the Canadian Geese? He said, no, I can't encourage you having Lucozade. And I said, pod boy, say that Lucozade, and now Lucozade. You say just like your friggin' dog would say it. So we'll be back here in a second with a little discussion about the benefits of Canadian Geese for pod boys and humans everywhere. All right, I'll be right back. All right, is this your microphone on? Pod boy. Is this thing on? Okay, just let me we'll just get to you're going to try to influence you. Just let me get to the audio. Hey, everybody. So this is the segment. So you can't put music in as a segue. So I'm doing audio, or talking. Yeah, Bernie's looking at me. But, try to close your eyes and picture like a podium and some calm stuff, and then some very business-like theme music. Well, hello, good evening, everybody. This here is Bernie the Butterfly, and I want to welcome everyone to another episode of Bird Forum. I'm your host, Bernie B. Butterfly, And our guest tonight is a man, it's a controversial guest, ladies and gentlemen. A man with too many names, too many opinions, and a man we're going to call to task here on Bird Forum as we talk birds, as we always do here on Bird Forum, a forum about birds. I'd like to introduce our indistinguished guest, Podboy. It's actually dear Scooter. Thank you for having me on, Bernie. I'm so happy to be on Bird Forum. I'm a big fan. We know you're lying. That you've never have you listened to an episode of Bird Forum before? No, because I didn't know about Bird Forum till just today. I probably would have. All right. So those of you that are more familiar with Bird Forum know that here we are, Bird Forum, a forum for talking about birds. And tonight's episode, we're talking about the beloved, the lovely, our friends from the north that are all over here everywhere, the Canada Geese. And as we always start out, now are you familiar with the how things work here on Bird Forum, Potboy? No, but I'm happy to be on the show, and I'll do my best. Oh, won't you there, Potboy? Oh, that's excellent. So here on Bird Forum, we always start out with, I will say something, and then you respond just like a forum, the Roman forums, but more like a forum around a bird bath where the birds are talking, and we'll stay calm. There's no reason. Just because your opinions are wrong or controversial because they're wrong, that doesn't mean we won't give them, you could go. So anyway, I want you to react to this bad boy. Bran ta Canada Geese. Branta Canadiensis. Go ahead. Branton Canadiensis. Branton Canadiensis makes me think of Canada geeses flying through the air with their nieces. Thrice threeses. Branton Canadiensis. Oh, well, aren't you so funny? Thank you. Actually, that's Branta. That's the Latin for you. And I believe now, if our geese friends could gather around here. Now, I don't mean to ask, this is not an official question, just a probing one. But when I look over your transcripts here, Podboy, it seems like you studied Latin for 5 semesters here in a university. And you didn't recognize that that was a Latin word. Was it a Latin root word? Did you, how come you didn't, what were you doing in Latin class? Mostly worrying, or trying to get other kids. Do you know I suffer from, oh, yes, Pat Boy. I was just asking a question. No need to get defensive. I was just curious. You did not recognize Branta. Now, that's Latin. Now, believe it or not, it's Latinized from the Old Norse. And yes, you ladies and gentlemen, like the Pot Boy, better than Bernie the Butterfly, humans, LeVar Burton fans, I know who you are. Those of you that would jump to, yes, some of my information does come from Wikipedia because the Pot Boy doesn't pay for anything else. But that's from the Old Norse, from brand gas, Pot Boy. The Old Norse word brand gas, which means burnt goose. Does that make you feel anything, Pot Boy? The burnt goose. Yeah, believe me, it makes me think of a lot of things, but I don't think I'd share them on Bird Forum. Okay, so let's move on then. Now I'll make a statement, and you just feel free to make whatever statement comes to your mind, Pot Boy. In the year 2000, there were geese in North America. Now I can see how you're looking at me. In the year 2000, Y2K, there were blank geese in North America. Is it too many? Is this a quiz? I thought this was a forum. There's no wrong answers. So in the year 2000, what was your response? Too many. In the year 2000, there were too many, but less than now, geese in North America. Okay, that's an interesting answer. The actual factual answer, just so you know, is 4 to 5 million geese in North America in 2000. But let it be noted, the pod boy said there was too many. And we don't have the numbers for the current. But I guess if you were in charge, how many geese would there have been in North America in 2000? Less than millions, I'll tell you that. I mean, does that count Canada? Because they can have their geese. I'm talking about the year-round residents. That's what gets me. Okay, well, that's fine. I accept your answer. Here on Bird Forum, there's no wrong answers. There's just, there's wrong people, but there's no wrong answers. All right, so coming up next here, I'm going to say something, and you go ahead and fill it in. Salinity in geese. Salinity and geese go together great. Salinity in geese. Salinity keeps geese afloat. Salinity helps geese stay afloat and keeps geese clean. But barely, because they're so dirty. You're still looking at me, so my instinct is just keep talking. Okay, pod boy, if you want to keep talking, let's go right ahead. Are you finished? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, well, let's talk about salinity. It is not that great for our geese friends. Moderate to high salinity. Without any fresh water. Now, they probably can handle a little bit of it, but without any fresh water, will slow down the development and can be not so good for the long-term health, if you know what I mean. And especially those little lovely goslings, our friends. Oh, the goslings. Bad boy. Which is your favorite gosling? And don't say Ryan, because he's a human. I think, did you ever see when Ryan Gosling and, oh boy, I forgot his name already. I'll think of it. They wore the T-shirts of each other, and then it got more and more meta. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about, because I don't care about, I'm talking about goslings that have to deal with the salinity. I'm sure Ryan Gosling looks fine in salt water, and that he can deal with it, and it probably makes his eyes sparkle even more. And maybe, of all the humans, Barney the Butterfly, I could tolerate looking into his eyes, but that's another, in drinking a Gatorade. I guess I could have a Gator, but he is a LeVar Burton sympathizer. So I think you're talking about the young man from Home Alone, but you don't do him, you say you don't do him justice, and I'm not going to dig you out of a hole by telling you his name. So let's move on. Salinity is not good for the geese, and even worse for the gosling. Okay, so did you learn that? I could ask you, is Ryan Gosling spelled the same way as Gosling? Oh, this is not the Myers-Briggs spelling bee, pod boy. This is a talk. This is Bird Forum, not Ryan Gosling Forum. Okay. I think that I could do a better job on Ryan. You could get some 12-year-olds and have me on Ryan Gosling Forum. And so far, I'd be doing better than you. And I'm a butterfly. I'm not even a human being. Okay. All right, so maybe these ones will be a little bit easier for you since they don't involve facts. Canadian geese are good for. It's all you say. You mix me. It's a Canada geese or Canadian geese. Okay. Can you? This is not bird debate the question forum. It's Bird Forum. So go ahead and have your open forum with that statement. Canadian geese. I'd like to say they're good for nothing. But yeah, do you want me to list some things Canadian geese are good for? When I used to go running, twisting my ankles, making my bottom of my shoes covered in bird droppings, irritating me with their hissing in the heaven. They say, why do you got to stand? Okay, so good. Testing my patience, making me not be able to sit in any parks that I'd like to sit down. Good for causing trouble in the sky, honking, which I mean that I neutral on that one. Canadian geese are good for teaching, teaching my daughter how to be irritated by natural things. Canadian geese are good for blocking the road, blocking paths, making a mess, ruining parks. Maybe I should be stronger in my statement. Helping me define the word pest. I would say that's one. Making me stay home and not leave the house. They're good for that. Making me regret leaving the house. They say, well, let me go right in a park, get out of the house for a few hours. And then I get to the park, I realize it's covered in, so that regrets, shame, probably because I dislike the geese. I feel shame. So, help me grapple with increase my shame load. Good for therapists, probably. Good for sneaker corporations. Good for ankle doctors, chiropractors. Probably good for big pharma. Probably increase the sales of medicine. And I think that's it for right now. Is there a bonus round? Okay, bad boy. Oh boy, you are offensive. You know what I mean? Do you hear yourself? You don't like LeVar Burton, the most beloved human of humankind. Okay. Excuse me, did you just compare Canadian geese to LeVar Burton? Because I don't know if my ears are believing what they're hearing. Okay, it's actually bird forum. So I'd like to have my open forum, if you don't mind, with your bird trashing. Canadian geese are good for. Oh, your friend Bernie the butterfly, I could almost do an ode for the Canadian geese are good for. The autumn air in my heart as they glide in the V, going by as this is, I didn't even write an ode because I feel if you could feel what I'm feeling, you'd be good for something. The geese are good for a reminder of those of us chased away with no place to stay. The migrants among us that are shunned by some, judgmental people. They remind us of those with no place to go. Oh, the geese. They're called from the home to move into the unknown. Brave, brave geese. Their calls remind me of my youth. The brave, brave geese. They make Bernie's heart sing. They're good for children to point to the clouds and see what is passing, to know that nature's full of mystery. How do they do that, Papa? Is the first one leading or the second one, they say, as they lie amazed looking at the birds in the sky? Where are they going? Why are they in an arrowhead formation? How smart are those birds? Oh, to fly like a geese. Oh, to honk like a geese. And then they're at Earth, trying to mind their own business, trying to do their best. was still this scorned by pod boys and fools alike. Oh, the brave geese. Oh, the symbol of the loon. Oh, how I love thee. That's the end of my forum for right now, pod boy. Okay, that didn't. Am I allowed to counterpoint? This is not a debate; it's a forum, pod boy. Well, that didn't feel. Hey, I don't buy that you even like Canadian geese. They think you're just here. Didn't you just? Wasn't this a like transaction based on Lucozade? Because I told you if you had Lucozade, it would be bad for you. Oh yes, you know everything that's good for me, don't you, pod boy? Well, actually, I do, because remember the time I told you not to drink 2 Gatorades and you did? What happened? Oh, please don't bring that up. That's embarrassing. Okay, well, I'm just saying, I try. Who was there to take care of you? Who was there to change your bedding and calm down your jitters and hold whatever that thing is that you call a hand, whatever that is. Is that a tentacle? Oh, pod boy, please don't be hurtful. Well, I was just saying I'm there. If you think that, just wait till you have that Lucozade. I don't even know. I can't even Google what happens when a butterfly drinks a bubbly drink. It doesn't even come up on Google. So according to science, it's never been done before. Well, why did you tell me about Lucozade then? If you didn't want me interested in Lucozade, and we did this little bit at the top, and now anyway. Well, welcome to Bird Forum. Welcome back from the break, folks. Sorry about that. That was a break. So hopefully we'll have that. We don't have any commercials here on Bird Forum, but I'm back here with the pod boy, and I've got another statement for him. When I see Canadian geese, I see. When I see Canadian geese, I see. When I see Canadian geese, I see. Me, no, I don't see me. I see, I think I covered it all. I mean, I see a mess. I see, like, confused walking. I don't even know where they live. When I see Canadian geese, I see, I mean, they all look the same, don't they? And it's like, I guess I see like something that could have been at one point in my life, maybe like you said, I looked up at the sky and it meant something to me. And I saw the goose and I said, oh, this is autumn. And like I saw their slender necks and their black and white and gray colors and their beaks, and I said, well, that's a good looking bird. Or that's a good looking goose, but not anymore. Now I see, like too many. That's one. Like they walk around like they own the place, and they make messes, and then, pod boy, let me just stop you because you are just unbelievable. Holy moly. Okay, Canadian Geese, send your email to podboy@jerkstore.com. Okay, well, let me take this. When I see Canadian geese, I see resiliency. I see plasticity. I see beauty. I see slender necks craning to see a spot they might find where freedom might be. I see some birds just doing the best. Pretty birds, speckled chests, feathered friends who know no bounds, that travel distances, are chased by hounds, caring parents. Did I say feathered friends? I did, but I say it twice because they are feathered friends. Smooth gliding breasts. And, the amazement when I see them in the sky that never ends. A brave, brave goose far from home, trying to make a new place, because the humans screwed up its biome. If a geese could talk and say, hey, you humans, just leave me the friggin' heck alone. I'm just a poor goose. You're a human. You think you're so smart. I've just got a little pea brain in here. And I'm just trying to find something to eat and go to the bathroom and raise my friggin' family. And you guys are free. It was, go ahead, pod boy. Well, actually, it's your bird form, everybody. Bernie's a little tired. Bernie, did you have notes here? Okay, I'll take the notes here. Why don't you, I have a quarter Gatorade here. One part Gatorade, 3 parts water. What's that? That's not going to do me any good, pod boy. Well, that's what that doctor we saw, that's what they said. They said, no more. Okay, let me just, can you put it up to my lips while you talk so I can sip at it? Okay, there you go. Okay, so statement 6. Canada geese eat. Okay, and then you say it twice. Canada geese eat. Okay, and then pod boy, why don't you, okay, I could do you a little bit. Why don't you give us a little answer? Oh, like pod boy, that was nothing like me. This is good. Is this the fruit frost? I like that flavor. This is good. It's good. Wait a second. Did you mix electric blue and fruit frost for me? I did. So it's 1/8 fruit frost and 1/8 electric blue. Oh, jeez. I can't believe I'm going with these geese. Anyway, go ahead, pod boy, with your answer about Canadian geese eat. Well, I'd say Canadian geese eat trash. And not healthy, because I've seen their movements. Some are solid and some are runny. So they don't eat healthy. They eat garbage, like I bet. Okay, so that's your answer. That was a very concise answer for once. And partially correct. Mostly Canadian geese eat grass. And then they eat some insects and some fish and some garbage. And this might be one thing you would appreciate, pod boy. You might have it in common with the geese, is they use a grasp and jerk technique to pull the grasp and jerk to get the grass off of when they get a blade of grass. It's hard to say that. They grasp it and they jerk it with the beak. So pod boy knows a little bit about that. All right, moving on. Because our forum is coming to a close because Bernie's wearing out with this friggin', and now I'm worried about this. So you think, pod boy, you really think the Lucas-8's no good for me? Probably. I don't. Let's just move on, and we could talk about it off the air. Oh, thank you, because I don't want them finding out. Do you think I could switch it for them? Could you sell the Lucas-8 for me, pod boy, and cash it in for Gatorade? Okay, can we finish the forum? Oh, okay, excellent. When it comes to monogamy, Canadian geese are. When it comes to monogamy, Canadian. I just picture George Michael now. Answer the question. When it comes to monogamy, Canadian geese don't see. I know this is when it comes to monogamy. Canadian geese is something they'll never see. Well, so once again, you're incorrect, pod boy. Canadian geese, when it comes to monogamy, Canadian geese are monogamous. By age 2, they've met the partner, the mate, as they say, and they'll be with them for life. They choose a partner for life. Now, in the case of a widowing, they will choose a new partner, but they're a monogamous bird. And when they do give birth, they birth 2 to 9 eggs. So those are some factoids for you. But yeah, you were wrong again. Oh, wow. So Canadian geese are monogamous. Pod boy, what is it called when you're like a sexual but not active? What do you call that? Because it's not. How do you say? Do you even know what the Latin root for that is? Xenogamous. What do they call you? Are you the same as Morrissey or different? I believe different. I think Morrissey was choosing, or was it like? Oh, that's right. He could. He chose not to. You. Okay. So anyway, moving on. When goslings hatch, pod boy, when goslings hatch, what do you say? When goslings hatch, bad dreams do too. The trouble starts when the goslings come through. Is this a rhyming thing we're doing now? For when the goslings come forth, I'm saying, how now? Because they're going to be making a big mess with that's when their parents get protective and hiss. Even when I'm trying to just run by. Oh, that is incorrect again. When goslings hatch, they're super cute. One, oh, so cute. They're so cute, those goslings. Pod boy, I have a gosling here. I'd like to put it in your lap, if you don't mind. Its name is, what is this, Gerard? Gerard the Gosling is going to be in your lap. Gerard Gosling, would you put this in your lap? Sure. Hi, Gerard. You are cute. Very cute. Gerard's cute. Okay, so Gerard is in your lap. You two look good together. But we're going to have, don't, if I talk about the Lucozade, cover Gerard's ears. I don't, because when goslings are born, when they hatch, they can walk and everything, pod boy. They can, they depend on the family, but they're not, they're mobile right away. Okay, so coming in here, pod boy, before we do we're going to do one more, is Gerard's mother, Gina, and she's going to get in your lap. She's a little bit bigger. Hello, Gina. Come on in. You have that Lucozade. Okay, excellent. Okay, pod boy, I don't know what it... Oh, Gina's climbing into your lap. Yep, she's big there. She's just going to sit right on Gerard. And don't mind the smell, pod boy. That's just what they smell like. It smells a bit like machine grease. Probably that's probably what Gina had for dinner. Like, because what you did to the binome humans. And Gina's going to get to comfortable she's a while, that'll get out. Don't worry, pod boy. Your clothes are stained anyway. Oh, so Gina's getting comfortable in there. Oh, look at you. So, pod boy, how do you feel with two geese, a gosling and a goose, and a man who's about as smart as a caboose? How do you three feel? Gina, how do you feel with pod boy? No comment from the geese because they could barely even get Lucozade. I don't even know how they pulled that off. Pod boy, how do you feel about the geese? I mean, the Gina's they look the way they're making eye contact. Now I feel different. Now they're making eye contact with them. And then I was thinking about the resiliency and the fact that they're shunned. I feel bad. I'm sorry, Gina. I'm sorry, Gerard, that I said those. I made a lot of assumptions and I didn't think about, well, isn't that great, pod boy? But this isn't the bird. This is not bird, amends. You'll have to do that on your free time. This is Bird Forum, and we have time for just one more question before our clock runs out and the Bird Forum comes to a close. Pod boy, Canadian geese fly. Canadian geese fly high, twice as high as a butterfly, probably. And they could make my heart sore. Maybe, Gina. Hopefully. Oh, by the way, pod boy, Gina and Gerard are going to be living with you for a little while. I forgot about that because I asked for a fourth case of. I guess Gina's not. But anyway, you'll love it, pod boy. They'll be moving in with you. But I get my own room. I still want the bedroom. You can sleep in the living room with Gina and Gerard. Also, Gina squawks in her sleep all night. She sleeps the same hours as you, but she squawks, and then that wakes Gerard up, and he clucks, according to my notes here. Also, they like to sleep in a bed with a human, believe it or not, because they used to live with a zookeeper. So they'll be sleeping with you. I wonder if it would be unnatural to give them Gatorade. Well, I wonder if you could maybe you could just feed them with Lucozade and then I'll just drink the Gatorade. Gina, have you ever had any sparkling beverages before? Gina, how do you feel about Gerard having caffeine at such a young age? Okay, they have no, I bet you they'll fly high when they're drinking the caffeine, pod boy. Okay, well, did you say they fly higher than a butterfly? Oh boy, my skiff, between 1 and 9,000, they could get up kilometers in the sky. Oh, you think you're pretty hot stuff, huh, Gina and Gerard? Flying twice as high as a butterfly, like LeVar Burton and the humans. And the pod boy just is, are you petting her, pod boy? I thought I was the only one that got petted around here, that and your stupid dog. Oh boy. Well, anyway, everybody, this is another episode of Bird Forum coming to a close. It looks like we've, the forum has been aired out, and Gina and Gerard, this was a ruse to get Gina and Gerard out of the, because you cover the ears, pod boy. The grasshoppers hate Gina and Gerard more than you. Like Gerard chases grasshoppers. So that was another thing. They said, Barney, you got to get rid of these two geese. This mother, she squawks in her sleep. We can't, we're trying to mate here with our, what do they call that the grasshoppers do? Do you know, pod boy? But they said it was almost wiped them out because they couldn't mate because she's been living next door for so long with that squawking. So that was another thing. The grasshoppers had me. So great job taking one for the grasshoppers. Also, Gerard is really like 14 years old. He's like a gosling, but so he's he's not a baby. He just looks like one and acts like one. That's great. I love these two. They remind me of me. They're like young me. So thanks, Bernie. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me on Bird Forum. And I guess I've been won over by some Canadian geese. So I can't wait, to get them nursed back to health with whatever treats they need. Pat boy, you're messing with me now, right? You don't like it. You're not going to start liking geese more than me. Yeah, no, thanks, Bernie. I can't believe I think you made a love connection, not a heart-based love connection. Thank you. Okay, this is not funny. No. There's no geese can't have Gatorade, Pat boy. It's not safe for them. It's only safe for me. You can give them the Lucozade, and then if they're fine, then I'll drink some Lucozade. Okay, so it's the end of Bird Forum and the episode. Thanks, everybody. Gina and Gerard and I are going to head out. And Bernie, why don't you, I think with me and Gina and Jennifer, you and Koa will share a room from now on. Oh, no. I'm not sharing a room with that friggin' dog. You've seen what she does to those flies. She'll try to lick me. She's licked me before, you friggin' dog. Her breath is like the worst. Yeah. All right, thanks, everybody, and good night. Good night, humans. I want to do some thank yous over here's on Facebook. Mark, thanks and good night. Barbara M, thanks and good night. Jennifer R, thank you and good night. Jenalina, thanks and good night. Lean, thanks and good night. My brother's wife, Julie, thanks and good night. Ariel G, thank you and good night. Sarah M, thank you and good night. Jason H and his wife, thank you and good night. My friend Justine, this is Ray, saying good night to you. This is your friend Ray. Larice, thanks and good night. Lynette N, thank you and good night. Jennifer G, thank you and good night. Lord B to the SCR, thanks and good night. Justin J, our maker buddy, thanks and good night. Matthew H, thank you and good night. Seth M, thank you and good night. Renee J, thank you and good night. Joe S, thanks and good night. Kristen S, thanks and good night. Sherry S, thank you and good night. Trish, thanks and good night. Carol, Lauren, thank you and good night. Leonie, thank you and good night. Nora, thank you and good night. night. Teresa, thank you and good night. Stacy, thank you and good night. Stephanie D, thank you and good night. Katie O, thank you and good night. Jana, thanks and good night. Christine F, thanks and good night. Chad, thank you and good night. Allison T, thank you and good night. Raymond, thanks and good night. Alan, thank you and good night. Kaylee, thanks and good night. Margaret, thank you and good night. Rachel, thanks and good night. Blake, thanks and good night. Mark, thanks and good night. Chris, thanks and good night. Andrew, thanks and good night. Vibrata, thanks and good night. Arnie, thank you and good night. Marianne, thank you and good night. Roberto, thank you and good night. Anna B, our good friend, thanks and good night. Justin D to the G, thanks and good night. Classic Denny, thanks and good night. Lori, thanks and good night. Collis, thanks and good night. Colin, thanks and good night. Daniel R, thank you and good night. Mary M, thanks and good night. Nicole E, thank you and good night. Vesna, thanks and good night. Lisa K, thank you and good night. Billy V, thank you and good night. Alexandra, thank you and good night. Lynn S, thanks and good night. Kate D, thanks and good night. Melinda, thanks and good night. Joan, thanks and good night. Cammie, thank you and good night. Amantha T, thanks and good night. Lisa S to the P, thank you and good night. Eileen J, thank you and good night. Julie D to the L, thanks and good night. Jeff J to the H to the R, thanks and good night. Janet H, thank you and good night. Myrna, thank you and good night. Aaliyah, thank you and good night. Moana, thank you and good night. Hillary, thank you and good night. Santiago, thank you and good night. Layla, thank you and good night. Damon, thanks and good night. Brian C, getting ready for a new album to drop. Thanks and good night. Shauna, thank you and good night. Suzanne K, thank you and good night. Loretta L, thank you and good night. Libby A, thanks and good night. Our other buddy Libby, thanks and good night. Caroline S. Epcot says hello. David G, thank you and good night. Christopher R, thank you and good night. Bonnie, the Baroness, thanks and good night. JVH to the V to the S, thanks and good night. Becky H, thanks and good night. Mike W, thanks and good night. Shebster, Chevy, thanks and good night. Kelly S, thanks and good night. Lisa H, thanks and good night. Keith R, thanks and good night. Melanie P, thank you and good night. Brianna D, our friendly skies, thanks and good night. Stephanie H, thanks and good night. Jennifer R to the K, thanks and good night. And I said thanks and good night, everybody.